I'm on a different angle. Look at me getting all fun with the camera. Okay, so today we are doing the mid-year book Freakout Tag. The original creators will be down below. This is a tag that I love watching every year, and it's basically what the title is, mid-year book Freakout, because I am freaking out. My goal on Goodreads this year was to read 75 books, and I'm only 20 books in because I went through a major reading slump until this month. So I haven't read that much. We are going to talk about the books that I've read this year, the best and the worst, the good and the bad, the meh books, and everything else. So let's get started. Okay, so the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2019. So, the best book I've read so far, I actually read on the Kobo, but it's Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is the sequel to The Way of Kings in the Stormlight Archive series, which is supposed to have 10 books, I think, when they're completed. And I almost regret reading it this year because the fourth book is going to come out next year. After reading the second book, I really want to read the third book, and I ordered it on Book Outlet, and maybe I shouldn't have done that because I just want to read it. And if I read this now, then I have to wait almost 2, well, I think it's coming out the end of 2020 supposedly, so I'd have to wait a year and a half for it, which is going to be so painful. So I'm trying to hold off on reading the third one, and the second one was the best out of the two. The best of the series, yeah, I only read 2 of them. The best of the 2. Way of Kings I think was 4.5 stars, and Words of Radiance was 5 stars. The characters, the plot, I'm intrigued the whole time. It's a 1,300 page book, and I couldn't stop reading it, and I got through it really quickly for how long it is. Okay, the next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2019. Well, yeah. Words of Radiance, best sequel. Other sequels I read this year were, I read books 3 and 4 of the Witcher series. Well, technically books 1 and 2, because there's 2 prequels. And then I also read 2 Towers from Lord of the Rings, which is like a 4 stars for me. I find the first one I think is my favorite. That's a full 5 stars. The third one, last time I read it I gave it 5 stars, but during this reread I'll tell you what I think of that one. But 2 Towers only got 4 stars. So, Words of Radiance, that was the best sequel this year. Let's see the next question and see whether or not it's also Words of Radiance. Okay, new release you haven't read yet but want to. I am currently reading this, but I haven't completed it yet. So this one is Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. I've heard so many people talk about it, and even before that, when I was looking at all the 2019 releases and making my Goodreads list, this was one of the first ones I added. So I'm enjoying it so far. I'm like 90 pages in, so hopefully it still stays the same level. Number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Okay, my most anticipated release for, I think it comes out in November, December. It's the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone. It's called Children of Vengeance and Virtue, or Virtue and Vengeance. Virtue and Vengeance, Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. I really love this book. This was 5 stars. I tabbed it to the gods. So I am so excited to read the sequel. Okay, the next question is the biggest disappointment that you've read. My biggest disappointment of the year was The Gilded Wolves. So, I don't usually like YA, so that's a premise to this, but my friend said that it's different. She said that I would like this one specifically because it's very different. And to be honest, I did not like it. I was really confused the whole time as to what was happening. The magic system confused me, and I don't always need the magic system to make sense, but there are certain things that just I couldn't grasp because of the description of the magic. I just couldn't understand what was happening, and there's a scene where they're in like catacombs and it's dark, and I feel like it was actually dark because I couldn't understand what was happening through the description, so I felt like I was actually in the dark, which, like, yeah, like, bravo to you for putting me actually in the book, but at the same time, I have no idea what's happening. So when they got out of there, I didn't know if someone was injured, if someone was dead. I had no idea what happened. I was kind of in the slump when I read this, so maybe that contributed to it, but I was disappointed by this because my friend thought that I would like it, and I was excited to like it, and then I didn't, so that was my thoughts on this book. Okay, the next question is your biggest surprise. Okay, my biggest surprise of the year, I kind of took this as, like, not the biggest thing that, like, I expected to hate it and I loved it, because if I expect to hate a book, I don't usually read it unless it's for book club, but I took this as something twisty. So The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This book was really, really twisty. Even the summary in the book is basically just assume nothing, and I didn't, and it was very twisty and turny. I only gave it a 3 stars, but I do appreciate the twist that I didn't see coming, because it's very easy usually for me to predict twists, and this had twists all over the place and I didn't predict most of them, so that was really cool. Okay, the next question is favorite new author, debut or new to you? Brandon Sanderson. So we're going back to Words of Radiance and Way of Kings. Brandon Sanderson is amazing. I am so surprised. I have not read anything by him before. Okay, newest favorite character. How many times am I going to talk about the Stormlight Archive? I am so sorry. Okay, new favorite characters. I like a lot of the characters in that book. I like Shalyn a lot. Her storyline was fun to read from. Kaladin really grew on me. I like Rock because he's funny. So new favorite characters, Brandon Sanderson books. Moving on. A book that made you cry. I haven't cried at a book this year, but the one that had me closest to crying was probably The Astonishing Color of After. I really liked this book. I didn't like the romance aspect, but the rest of it I found really compelling emotionally. And maybe I didn't cry because I kind of read this in a bunch of installments, so I couldn't get really in-depth in the emotion, but it was there. If any of the books came close to making me cry, it would have been this one. Okay, the next question. A book that made you happy. I literally just read this like 2 days ago, but this book made me so happy. The Tea Dragon Society. I want a tea dragon so badly. This is so cute. Okay, the next question. The most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. So the Tea Dragon Society is really beautiful. All the illustrations are gorgeous, so I picked that one. Or I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I love the pastel colors. I don't usually like faces on books, but this illustration style is really pretty to me. And it's just so cute. Okay, the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Okay, I have a bunch, but I'm just going to name a few. So These Witches Don't Burn, I really want to read. With the Fire on High, I really want to read. I also need to read Tell Me How You Really Feel, as well as I Wish You All the Best. And I really need to read Sight Still. Alright, that was the mid-year book Freakout Tag. Let me know in the comments down below some of your top books and lowest books of the year so far. I hope everyone is having a great reading year. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!